With the new Tekra update, we got an insanely overpowered shotgun. This weapon puts the tenet plasmor to shame. Don't get me wrong, I love the tenet plasmor, but damn, this weapon is busted. Like the tenet plasmor, this weapon shoots a wide projectile that can hit multiple enemies at once, which is already great, but this weapon has a very unique alternate fire. Before we get to how overpowered this weapon is, let's quickly go through the stats and compare it to its lich counterpart, the tenet plasmor. Immediately, we can tell that this weapon is a status weapon because of its very high status chance and its low crit rate. The crit stats honestly aren't impressive, however the status damage is. The base damage is also slightly bigger than the tenet plasmor. The magazine size is much larger, making this more enjoyable to play and to spam. This weapon also comes with a much higher projectile range, which allows us to hit more enemies. Now, the base damage of this weapon is Blast, which is much better than the tenet plasmor's radiation because Blast got a massive buff recently, and it's a good DOT we can use on the weapon, especially because it can hit multiple targets. Now, the alternate fire mode of this weapon fires 4 bullets at once. It spreads status effects and applies a guaranteed magnetic and impact status effects on the enemy. If the enemy is vulnerable to finisher damage, you will teleport to the enemy and perform a mercy kill, which gives you 100% damage and 100% multi-shot. This is very powerful to say the least, as mercy kills not even done with the weapon can activate this buff.
Nice.
That brings us to the next point. So we have loads of multi-shot and we have a lot of base damage. So what element do we want to use? We already know that Blast comes innately with the weapon, which is good because any sort of base damage will increase the amount of damage that Blast procs do. So we want to use another element that instead of doing AoE damage, does massive single target damage. And the best thing we can use for that is gas. The reason DOTs on this weapon will work so well is because we have the base damage from mods, we have multi-shot, which allows us to hit multiple times. On top of that, we have the trait that gives us an additional 100% damage and multi-shot. And if we use an arcane, like Primary Deadhead, where we can get a 360% additional damage increase, which affects Blast, we now have Blast procs that can do anywhere from 500,000 to millions of damage. I've tried Varl on this, it's very good, but it's not as consistent as Gas is. Gas paired with Blast is a great combo because one deals AoE damage and the other deals single target damage. Now, saying all this, let's look at the build. Firstly, Galvanized Hell and Semi-Shotgun Cannonade are what we're going to use for base damage mods. Semi-Shotgun Cannonade is great for this weapon, as the additional 1.5 punch through will help the AoE benefits we receive from Blast and Gas. For our crit mods, we will use Critical Deceleration since our fire rate is locked and isn't affected, and Primed Ravage for our critical damage. You can use regular Ravaged if you don't have the Prime version. For our status mods, we will use Scattering Inferno and Toxic Barrage. If you have Heat or Toxin as a Valiance bonus, you can have a free slot. I personally don't want to get the weapon up to level 40 because I don't see any reason to. I can already fit all my mods on and I'm lazy, so I'll just wait until a good Valiance trait comes and I'll change it. So you can have a free mod slot for whatever you want. But remember, fire rate mods won't work. For our last two mods, we will use Galvanized Savvy and Shotgun Elementalist. The reason is because we want the high status chance. We're going to apply at least 2 statuses on the enemy at all times, which will give us a condition overload buff, and our Shotgun Elementalist will multiply the amount of damage our DOTs do by 90%. As I mentioned before, Primary Deadhead will be used because it will increase the damage of the gas procs as well as the blast procs. But if you want to, you can use Primary Crux. I personally don't like using Primary Crux on this weapon because I find it to be quite inconsistent. A 10-second window to not hit a headshot with the bassocyst is fairly unforgiving. Because the weapon fires a quite large projectile, it's sometimes hard to hit headshots in missions. Primary Deadhead is just a more comfortable playstyle, and I'm quite lazy and I prefer comfortable playstyles. If that's not something you want, then you can change to Primary Crux. That's entirely up to you. So when we went over the stats, we said that the weapon is great, but there is one issue that the weapon has: the reload time. There is a very simple way to fix this. If you use any companion, you can put Synth Deconstruct on them, and a very cool thing about Synth Deconstruct is when you're performing a finisher, it counts as you holstering your weapon. So while you're doing mercy kills or finishers, whatever you want to call them, you will reload your weapon passively, which makes it so you never have to reload the gun, which is awesome. If you guys did enjoy this video, please give me a like, comment if you liked it, comment if you liked the build. Please subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, so if you could subscribe, I'd highly appreciate it. And I hope you guys have a blessed week. Until next time.